What's going on, guys? This is Braden from Advancement Hockey Advising here, and today we'll be talking about prep versus midget AAA hockey, and then which one is the best path towards NCAA hockey. But before we dive into the video here, just a quick reminder, as always, to absolutely smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and share the video if you like the content. Also, if you want to reach out to us about absolutely anything, feel free to drop a comment down below or email us at info@ahadvising.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Last quick thing, there will be timestamps throughout the video as always, so if you want to go click on a specific section, you can, or if you just want to watch the entire video, you can do that too. It's completely up to you. Alright, so this topic here was requested by several of you guys here, and I was really excited when I first saw this. I really want to make this video, and here it is. We're going to make it here, but that being said, it was a lot harder than I thought it was because in these videos, we gotta keep things, more general, more on a general level. And, we can't dive into the nitty gritty. And for this, AAA and prep programs, they're so diverse. There's such a large gap in the quality of the programs, and it's really hard to kind of pinpoint which one's better than the other. So I'm going to do my best here, but I just want to give a disclaimer that this is going to be a very general video, and it's not going to be easy to draw a distinction as to which is best for NCAA hockey, because ultimately they're both great paths towards NCAA hockey. If you're in a high quality program, that's the right fit for you. So building off that here, the whole goal of this video, what I'm going to do here is just provide you, some information on the prep side of things and the midget AAA side of things, just so you can get a better idea of what each entails, what the strengths of each are, what the weaknesses of each are, and then kind of go from there so you have all the information you need to pick the program that's going to be best for you. All right, so we're going to dive in here to 5 aspects that you want to consider here when you're looking at either a prep program or a AAA program. Whatever program you're looking at, you want to look at these 5 different aspects to kind of evaluate where they're at. And the first and foremost, and the most obvious here is probably NCAA exposure, right? You want a program that's going to help promote you to the NCAA level, that's going to help, get your name out there and help you advance at the end of the day. Now, obviously, NCAA exposure completely varies on, the tier of the program, whether you're at the AAA side or the prep side, right? It's really the tier of the program that's going to determine, how much NCAA exposure you really will get and what the caliber is of the overall program. But I would say if I had to give an edge to either prep or AAA hockey, I'd probably give a slight edge to prep hockey here, just because prep hockey completely focuses or almost completely focuses on NCAA advancement, especially the ones in the US. And even the prep programs in Canada really have a big emphasis on moving players onto NCAA. AAA, on the other hand, they do too. In the US especially, they really focus on NCAA. But in Canada, midget AAA programs don't all focus on advancing players NCAA, depending on the province, right? Some are really big into advancing, guys to major junior and all that kind of stuff, right? Whereas, other programs advance NCAA, but it kind of varies at the AAA level. So if I had to give a slight edge, I'd probably give it to prep programs. But again, it's very general. It depends what program you're at. If you go to the right program, both options are solid for NCAA exposure. All right, moving on to the second aspect here, which is really closely correlated to NCAA exposure, and that's caliber, right? Typically, the higher the caliber, the more NCAA exposure you're going to have with the program. They kind of correlate hand in hand. But here, I would say this one's even tougher than NCAA exposure. I would say this one's neck and neck for prep and AAA, right? Like I said before, it really depends on the tier of the program, whether you're at the AAA or the prep level. But I would say that caliber is really like a 50-50 on this one. If you get a top tier program, a prep program going against a top tier AAA program, it's going to be, on any given night, anyone could win, right? You might get a certain edge for some programs, a certain edge for others, but at the end of the day, the caliber, if you're at the same tier, is typically around the same level. So I wouldn't worry too much on the caliber when you're choosing between prep or AAA. So moving on from NCAA exposure and the overall caliber, the next 3 aspects here are where you're going to see, more differences between the prep and the AAA level. And this is where you can kind of say, okay, which one's the best fit for me based on the other 3 aspects here that I'm about to mention. All right, so the third aspect on our list here is facilities. Now, this is where you kind of see a big discrepancy, right? For the prep side of things, usually everything's all in one campus, right? Whereas AAA, it's kind of located at different spots, right? Prep, you got your education, you got your classes, you got your, practices, your gym and everything, right? Your rink. all on one campus. Whereas, AAA kind of got to drive everywhere to go to the different things that you have to go to. So from a convenience standpoint, I would say prep kind of takes the edge here. But at the same time, there is a big con for some players is that you have to move away from home at a very young age, sometimes 14, 15, or even younger, or a little bit older sometimes. But, that can be tough for certain players. So that's something you have to consider. If you're going to go the prep route, you have to be okay with moving away from home. That's a big thing that players have to consider. Not that you don't do that at the AAA level sometimes. Some players do move away from home for the AAA side of things. It's just a little bit less common. Prep, you have to. AAA is sometimes, So that's something you have to consider when making a decision. Personally, myself, I like the prep setup because they kind of just, the facilities and the whole setup kind of molds you into, a student athlete for a future in NCAA programs, right? So I really like that setup and that side of things. Everything's in the same location. It's really convenient. So if I had to give the edge for facilities, I would give it to prep, but that's for me. You have to go based on what you're looking for, based on what you like best, based on if you want that convenience and to be away from home, or if you want to stay at home for a few more years and, are okay with the current routine you have. It all depends up to you at this point. Also, for the rink itself, I would say that prep kind of gets the edge here too. Usually the rinks are on campus. They're really nice. They're really new. Not always, but a lot of the higher end programs, they all have amazing rinks. AAA programs, they play out of really nice rinks too, the higher end programs, but it varies a lot more at the AAA level. I would say more often than not, the prep programs have better facilities and or better rinks, I should say, than the AAA programs. All right, so moving on here to the fourth aspect, and that is education. Arguably a really important thing too here, right? Especially for you parents out there that care about your child's education. I know it's super important, right? Again, prep with the facilities it has, it's all on campus, right? You're going to be going to most of your classes, or if not all your classes, are going to be in person at that campus. You're going to take your classes and then you're going to go practice, or vice versa. You're going to practice and work out first in the morning, then go to your classes in the afternoon, right? It's all in one program. Versus the AAA level, some students do it in person. I would say a lot of students do, but students that move away, or some students where the schedule, there's a lot of conflict, they're going to do classes online. So that's another thing to consider here. Of course, it completely varies by program, right? It depends where you're at, if it's doable to do your classes in person or if you're doing them online, but it really varies at the AAA level. Whereas at the prep level, it's usually pretty consistent. What's nice about the prep level is it's the same institution for the hockey and the classes, right? So it's all scheduled very nicely and it all works together nice. Whereas at the AAA level, sometimes you can run into some schedule conflicts with your classes. So that's something to keep in mind too. I would probably give, again, a slight edge to prep on the education side of things. But of course, like I said before, it greatly varies. All right, and the last and fifth aspect that we have here is cost, right? I think a lot of parents are going to want to pay attention to this, right? Cost is really important for a lot of families. It's a big decision maker as to which program you go to. I would probably say, unlike the other situations that we talked about, the cost side, I would probably give a slight edge to AAA here, because usually AAA, depending on where you're at, depending if you bill it or not, depending on a bunch of stuff, usually looking at about 10 to 15,000 a year, something like that, right? Could be more, could be less. It all depends on the program. Prep, on the other hand, is usually a lot more expensive. Now, I want to say one note here on prep. There's, like the NCAA programs that we've talked about in the past, the prep programs do offer, a variety of scholarship money. It could be, academic based. It could be financial aid-based scholarship. It also could be athletic-based scholarship as well. So, if you're an elite player that has great grades, that has financial need, you could potentially go to a prep hockey program for next to nothing. So that is one thing to consider. That being said, that's not the situation for a lot of players. A lot of players, you're looking around the ticket price of at least $20,000 and up, something around those lines. But again, it varies greatly by player. Some AAA programs charge a lot more too, so it's hard to say. But I would say in general, the cost side of things, AAA kind of takes the edge on this one. All right, so just a quick recap here. Looking at all these aspects, I would say I'd probably give the slight edge to prep hockey. That being said though, there are so many great AAA programs out there, and it's a great option as well. The main thing you want to consider here that you want to take home is that you need to find, whether it's AAA or it's prep, you need to find a really high quality program that best fits you. That's the main message at the end of the day. If you do that, you're going to develop at the best rate that you can, and you're going to maximize your chances to get a lot of NCAA exposure. And that's it for the video. But before we let you go, just a quick reminder to absolutely smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and share the video if you like the content. And if you had any questions throughout this video, if you had any comments you want to give us, feel free to drop a comment down in the section below. Or you can email us at info@𝗟𝗔𝗔.com and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And last quick thing, if you're curious about us, if you want to learn more about us, there's a link down in the description below that you can click, and it'll give you access to all our different platforms, all the different stuff that we're up to. You can just go ahead and click on that link below and you'll get access to all of that. And that is it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you on that next one.